Hello and welcome into the PHNX Bets Daily Podcast presented by the DraftKings Sportsbook app, America's #1 sportsbook. It's a sportsbook, ladies and gentlemen, of the NFL. And speaking of the NFL, I'm Johnny Venerable. I'm joined today on this Monday morning with my partner in crime, Mr. Bo Brock of PHNX_Cardinals. Bo, is this your Bets Daily debut?
It is my debut.
Oh my
I'm pumped to be here, Johnny.
Bo, we were saving it in our holster, so to speak. We were saving it in our pitch count for this fall when the NFL kicks off. But we said, F it today. Our guy Shano is traveling back. Well-deserved time in Vegas for the Summer League. Lots of great content. Check that out. PHNX Sports on YouTube. So I said, okay, we're gonna get Bo on today, and we're gonna be some bad little boys on a Monday, and we're gonna talk NFL, right? As much as I appreciate the day after the MLB All-Star, or the MLB All-Star players were announced, right? Dabble into that motivation. We'll save that for tomorrow with Shano. So, Bo, if it's cool with you, I kind of want to look at these NFL lines for Week 1, see if there's some interesting ways for us to make a little bit of coin as it relates to right before training camp and just whatever stuck out to you, because you right now, contrary to popular belief, you can go and bet on these games via DraftKings, even though the games don't take place for exactly, I believe, 1 month from today.
I mean, really, what we're doing between now and then is building our stack for Christmas morning, for when the NFL actually kicks off and we see this full slate of NFL Sunday. We've got, Scott Hansen holding his urine for 10 hours while we're watching Red Zone, and he's giving us all the
urine right here.
Yeah, there it is. Oh man, that looks appetizing. But no, it's this is a fun one because it's just pure speculation. We don't know anything. We don't know how these rosters are gonna kind of work themselves out during the preseason. Now one game short, and we'll see. Like we're just gonna try to forecast what's going to happen Week 1. It's a fun exercise. There was a big move last week with Baker Mayfield. He could be QB1 for the Panthers going forward. How's that change things up? It's always fun because otherwise we're just breaking down, why Max Scherzer is going to shove against the Braves today.
Listen, and we do that plenty enough on this show, but we are not above betting on football 2 months before football actually kicks off. We've bet on Pro Bowl games on this show. I have lost a significant amount of funds on Pro Bowl games, All-Star games. We're going to bet on the preseason. God love us. And we're going to talk NFL football 2 months in advance. So, Bo, without further ado, let's dive into the Week 1 NFL lines. But before we do, I want to make sure everybody is primed and ready to go via the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use that promo code PHNX. Make your first deposit. Get a risk-free bet up to $1,000. You can do it right now for your NFL lines, and then just kind of sit and wait, let it marinate. That's using promo code PHNX only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details. Bo, you mentioned it. Baker Mayfield is now a member of the Cleveland Browns, as the football gods would have it. The Carolina Panthers, he's on the Carolina Panthers, formerly the Browns. The Panthers now host the Browns Week 1, September 11, 2 months today. Right now on DraftKings, Bo, you can get Carolina +1 in that game. It's essentially a pick 'em, but you can get them plus money. And I think that's so interesting because I don't know anybody who believes Deshaun Watson is going to play in Week 1.
Right. No, it's going to be the Jacoby Brissett show. There's been a lot of change on that Browns offense this year. Are they going to be able to muster up enough points against Carolina on the road to come out big fat winners? It's a very curious game. It really is. I mean, you can't even say with 100% certainty that Baker Mayfield's going to be QB1 for the Panthers. But it's a cluster of a game.
Funny you should mention that because there's also a future bet on here, I believe, and I think we talked about this last week, Bo, Shane and I did. You can actually get Sam Darnold plus money to be the starter, like +400, 500 on the DraftKings Sportsbook app. You think about it, like they want Baker Mayfield to start. They made this move with the idea that he was going to start. But like, what if Baker gets hurt in training camp? What if he doesn't pick up the offense fast enough? What if Sam Darnold has a lights out preseason? He's not seeing ghosts, right? That's the kind of fun stuff that you can dabble in on DraftKings. Was there another game or two that caught your eye in this Week 1 slate?
Well, I mean, we can always talk about the Cardinals Chiefs, but we'll table that for our own show, PHNX Cardinals, because that's what we're going to be previewing for the next month and a half.
Oh, we'll probably talk about it.
We did have a juicy little, on our Twitter account, just kind of how Kyler Murray's undefeated season openers. But so is, pretty impressive on the other side of things are Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid. So let's look at some other games. Like, are we going to see the Washington Commanders with quarterback Carson Wentz, who completely just fell on his face in week 18 last season against the Jags in a winner they're in scenario for the Colts? He faces that same Jags team, but I think they're going to look a lot different under Doug Peterson. They've also got a second-year quarterback where we even here in our backyard with Kyler Murray, guys make huge jumps from year one to year two, and Trevor Lawrence certainly has to do that for Jacksonville. The Jags at +4 on the road. There's no home field advantage in Washington anymore.
No.
I kind of like Jacksonville in this home opener. I mean, I only like Jacksonville really in season openers, like a couple seasons ago where they won that game and then they lost the rest of the regular season. It's just, it's harder to predict than most weeks. So
more work to be done. Remember that tweet? 1-0, but there's more work to be done. Well, not really. You're actually going to lose out.
Right.
But you get Trevor Lawrence. I do like them. The +155, I think, right now in the money line aspect. I think Washington is a team that could severely disappoint. To me, the infrastructure of that team is not there. Jaguars don't have to travel. It's on the East Coast, so it's minimal travel. I don't have to change time zones. Doug Peterson, you mentioned it, used to dominate the NFC East. So I like him playing the NFC East this year. Ron Rivera, Carson Wentz. You talk about a defensive head coach, maybe a little bit outdated, and then a quarterback that loves to turn the ball over. To me, that's a great game. Here's another game I'm going to be all over. No matter what happens, I like Detroit to cover regardless of the spread, and maybe even take Detroit money line hosting Philadelphia week 1. The Eagles, the slobber fest that's going on, and I'm a big proponent of this. Right, this screams though like dream team-esque. I like Jalen Hurts.
Yeah,
I'm kind of mixed on their coach, but they've had a tremendous offseason, right? They traded for A.J. Brown. They've had all these influx of draft picks, had a really nice free agency period. But I like what Man Campbell in the Motor City is doing. +4, -110, or +165. I think the Eagles are going to be good. I think they're going to win the NFC East. But that, to me, that just screams like overachieving Lions, underdog card, I should say. Jared Goff in year 2, who looks better. To me, that stands out as you want to make some quick money on underdog in week 1 with Detroit.
I can see that, and I completely feel the vibe as far as the Eagles go, where everybody's kind of slobbering over them, what they've done this offseason. They brought in a legit wide receiver 1, and they coupled him with Devontae Smith, the former Heisman Trophy winner. People are high on Jalen Hurts, but when Philly was rolling last year, it was when they were running the football. They were just running the ball down their throats, and I think they're going to kind of get they're going to fall in love with these new receiving weapons, and they're going to get away from what they do so well. Jalen Hurts isn't a great passer of the football. He's dynamic as far as being a dual threat, but he's not great throwing the ball down the field. If that's something that they try to come out of the gates doing, they're going to get themselves into trouble. And look, if Detroit at home dogs at +4, I kind of like it as well.
Another game that I've got my eye on that's really kind of, you look at it and it's like, is this a misprint? The Patriots in their division, they get a divisional matchup in week 1, which I think is kind of rare. They're traveling to Miami to take on our guy Mike McDaniel and the Miami Dolphins. The Dolphins are -2.5. Tua is a home favorite against Bill Belichick. So number one, I saw a picture of Mac Jones the other day. He looks absolutely jacked. He's been on that whey protein. I think he's going to have a nice year too. I do not see the Patriots losing in Miami week 1. They may not have a great season. A lot of people are thinking they're going to take a step back. But, I mean, Mike McDaniel, week 1 is not beating Bill Belichick. And I can get the Patriots at +125. Yes, please. Give me that all day.
I don't believe the Tyreek Hill propaganda for Tua. No. I'm just not buying it. Yeah, I'm not going to buy it. I just don't think when the social media team is putting out a video, and it's the best that they could have gotten of him throwing the ball and underthrowing Tyreek Hill by several yards, him waiting for the football. That's just going to know that it's more than that. If we just went off pure speed on what makes an NFL team successful, then the fastest guy in the combine would be the best players coming out of each and every of those drafts. So I'm not buying the Dolphins. They actually had high expectations that they fell short of last year. Is McDaniel is he actually going to be an upgrade over Brian Flores? We don't even know that either. We don't know what McDaniel made a fast rise to the Niners organization. We don't know what he's capable of at the helm. He's going up against the GOAT as far as head coaches go. You don't think that Bill Belichick's going to be ready out of the gates to scheme up Mike McDaniel and his offense and Tua, who he's familiar with? I think that's give me the Patriots plus 2.5. Absolutely.
Yeah. I love my little hipster friend, Mike McDaniel, hopefully a future friend of the show. I met him at the Combine. Couldn't have been nicer. You just mentioned the 49ers. They go to Chicago week 1. They are a 6.5-point favorite with Trey Lance. Trey Lance, who has 2 starts, I think 2 or 3 starts under his belt. He's playing his draft counterpart in Justin Fields. I love Justin Fields. I'm so glad he didn't go to San Francisco once upon a time. The Bears seem to be trying to sabotage his career by doing absolutely nothing to support him. With that being said, they are a home dog, 6.5-point underdog, hosting Trey Lance, who has very minimal experience. That crowd in Chicago is going to be crazy. I think Justin Fields is a better player, so I get the better quarterback. Now, the talent is significant in terms of the talent discrepancy. I haven't made a decision one way or the other, but I'm leaning Chicago week 1 right now, plus 6.5. Because I think Justin Fields will just make enough plays to keep that game close. Mooney, nice little wide receiver. They've got the running back. He's solid, right? Their offense isn't terrible. Their defense, on the other hand, could be dreadful and maybe gives Trey Lance some confidence. How do you feel about that matchup in the NFC week 1?
It's ugly. It's going to be I don't want to watch that game, actually. I am not intrigued by the game at all. I mean, I get that you've got the number 10 pick versus the number 3
Wouldn't
pick.
you just
overall.
love, though, to see Justin Fields stick it to San Francisco because they didn't want any part of him? And it's like, oh, they've made this mistake. Now I need that narrative. Feed me that narrative.
I can't name an offensive lineman on the Bears right now. I fear for his life. If the front 7 for San Francisco makes it through the preseason healthy, like this is going to be a nightmare for Justin Fields. And they're going to have to lean heavy on running the football. Sure, they're going to be installing a brand new offense from Matt Nagy. He was fired last year. They've got a defensive-minded head coach. So this is just going to be old school, like ugly kind of defensive, tough to move the football on either side of the sideline. I don't think that this is going to be a fun game. I mean, 6.5 points, to think that one team's going to get ahead by that much in this. I don't know. It's just going to be ugly. No thanks on this one. I wouldn't even touch this game with a 10-foot pole.
You mentioned Arizona Cardinals. PHNX Cardinals live today, 4 p.m. Myself, Bo Brock, Damian Anderson. We're going to be talking all things Arizona Cardinals. We're going to be talking the GOAT, Larry Fitzgerald, his recent comments on quarterback Kyler Murray. I am going to put you on the spot, though. Cardinals are hosting the Chiefs. Where, if you had to look at this line right now, +3, pretty respectable given the reputation of both teams right now. If you had one bet to make, you can put it on the over, the under, 53 points, on the Cardinal Chief money line, the points. If you had $10 to put down, what would you put it down as it relates to this game today on July 11th?
I take the Chiefs -3, unfortunately. I do. I know that they're, how they ended the season. It wasn't the Patrick Mahomes that we're used to seeing. He throws the pick in overtime against the Cincinnati Bengals. We saw a lot of ups and downs from Patrick Mahomes last year. They finally got their shit together and they made their run back to the AFC Championship game, and they fell short. And no Tyreek Hill. He's going to be incorporating some new weapons. Juju Smith-Schuster. He's got the new rookie that they brought in, wide receiver. It's going to take. It's not going to be what we're used to seeing from Kansas City, but still, Andy Reid, since taking over in Kansas City, he's 8-1 in season openers. We know that he's the greatest coach as far as coming off a bye in the NFL history. He's 20-3 coming off a bye. The guy with time to kill. He puts together a ferocious game plan. And unfortunately, the Arizona Cardinals, they've been dogs the last 2 years and they've come out 2-0. If I was betting with my heart, I'd go Cards, but I'm trying to bet with my head here, make some money. I would put it on the Chiefs to cover that 3 points.
Do us a favor. Have a couple of 4 peaks while you're in studio. Bet with your heart, because I think the Cardinals at least are going to cover. I think it'll be close, a 1-possession game. Speaking of 4 peaks, the official brewery, official beer of PHNX. Love our friends at 4 Peaks. Love DraftKings. Love talking NFL football with my partner in crime, my better half, Mr. Bo Brock. Well, Bo will have to do it again. I'll have to have you back on the show.
I'm in. I prepped for all this stuff as far as baseball today and summer league. I thought I was going to pick some big fat winners for everybody out there, but we were talking about stuff in September. We'll have to just table that.
See, when Shane leaves, I get to do whatever I want. That's in my contract. He is the de facto host. I believe he is back tomorrow. Safe travels to him and the rest of our PHNX Sons cohorts until we are back tomorrow. Be sure to like, subscribe, leave us a 5-star review wherever you get your podcasts. Check us out, PHNX Sports, on the YouTube. Go PHNX.com. Become a member. 50 cents for the first month, $8.99 for the subsequent months. And check Bo and I out later today, just in a few hours. PHNX Cardinals live. Until then, we will see you later. Bye, everybody.